Is failure good or bad? Let's talk about it right now. Failure. It is probably the biggest fear for many, and it keeps people from growing sometimes. It keeps them from becoming more than they are. There's different types of failure. There's failure in being, failure as a parent, failure in your business, failure in your job, failure maybe in sports. Different ways that we all fail, and we've all experienced failure. But how have we handled failure? How have we looked at failure? I can tell you from my experience, I feared it. I was one of those that feared failure. And I've always done my best to try and avoid it. So it's like the hot stove. You know it's hot, so you're going to do everything you can to avoid the failure. And so to give you a great example, I'm going to share with you what happened to me that led up to my depression recently. So most of you know that, who know me, I've actually been in IT for a long time, well over 25 years in IT in my career now. And for me, back in about 2015, it started to get a little boring. It was not fulfilling anymore. I was not getting anything out of it. And what I wanted to do was do something different. And so what I decided, I wanted to get my real estate license. I wanted to go into real estate. And so I went and I dived in. I went right into the classes to get my license, and I worked hard. I worked really hard. I worked harder than I ever did in college to get this. I was excited. I wanted to do this. So I did, and in the end, I got my license, and I'd embarked on a dual career model. I went and had an IT contract, and then what I did is I had decided I was going to work part-time as a real estate agent. And so we did this, and I did it for over a year in that sense. And what happened is probably about a month to 2 months before the end of my contract, which was about 15 months later, I was told that I was not going to have my contract renewed and that I would have to go find another contract. And there was just things that happened in the organization, and they weren't going to let me stay, so I had to go. And so I had in my mind a battle, and the battle went like this. I really wanted to do full-time real estate, and I wanted to leave IT. But then there was the other side of my brain that was telling me, you don't have enough savings to do this. You're not there yet. So I grappled with this over the month to 2 months, and I did keep trying to find a job, and I just couldn't find anything. And finally, when the contract ran out, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go full-time real estate. I'm going to make this work. And that was what I did, is I went full-time real estate. And I did really well for a while. I actually was very successful. But then things slowed down, and it really had an impact on our financial situation. And I had some ups and downs, but we tried this for about a year. And in the end, about a year after I started this, everything financially collapsed. Everything fell apart, and things started going wrong, and there were just all sorts of things that I just were out of my control. I had things breaking at home. The business wasn't doing well. There were issues that I was having, with deals trying to get closed, and trying to get them closed on time, and it was really hard. And as a result, things got to a point where they failed. The business failed, and I was in denial. I didn't believe it. And so it took a long time for me to kind of finally realize that, yeah, I had failure written all over my face, and it was just, it just smacked me hard, and it finally hit me, and that I needed to do something. But the problem was I wasn't willing to do anything. I got embarrassed. I got quiet, and I let the failure completely crush me. I let it completely destroy me and send me into my deep, dark depression. And after a while, I finally pulled myself out of it, and I finally got the help I needed. Went to counseling and started talking to family and friends more about it, and I was able to put myself back together enough that finally after several months of hard work and such, I was able to finally get a new IT contract. And it eventually went permanent and has turned out to be a really good thing for me. But I want to share some thoughts about failure in general, what I've learned from failure. So first of all, failure, it is a teacher. Failure is, it shows us what doesn't work. It shows us, what it is that we need to do to make the changes, to fix things, to not do those things again. So failure is also a guide. And we shouldn't be afraid of where failure is going to take us, because it's going to help us to put us back on track. We're going to learn those things, and it's going to help us to get back where we need to be. And then finally, we need to bounce back from failure quickly. And we need to remember that failure happens. It's supposed to. It's a part of life. It's exactly what we are supposed to do in this life. That's the experience we're supposed to have. And so, but it's up to us. We have to bounce back from it. That is in our control. When we fail, we can't let it consume us. We have to pick ourselves back up, and we have to get back on track. Think about when babies are learning to walk. They will fail over and over and over again. Do you notice, though, they will succeed. They learn from the failure every single time. And with that failure, they learn how to do it better next time eventually. Some, it takes them longer than others. But eventually, that baby learns to walk. And has success, but has learned from those failures and didn't let the failure keep them down and keep them off their feet. They got back up, and they did it again and again until they were able to finally walk, until that failure was turned into success. And that's what I challenge you with. If you share with me a failure that you've had, where have you had a failure that's brought you down and really affected you and made it difficult to pick things back up? I challenge you to keep this in mind. The next time you fail, just know, hey, it happens. It's going to be okay. You just now need to learn from the mistakes, and you need to pick up and move on. That's what failure does for us. Failure is a good thing, and that's what I've learned about failure. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Thank you so much for making it to the end of my video. It means the world to me that you stuck it out all the way to the end. Make sure you subscribe below, because I'm just getting started and I'm going to be adding more content on a regular basis.